Luka Doncic puts questions about his relationship with Kristaps Porzingis to bed and tells me why he's happy to be in the conversation for MVP with the likes of Kevin Durant and Giannis. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. But you can catch me on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. The Dallas Mavericks open up their 2021-2022 season on the road against Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday night. One of the most anticipated seasons in recent memory for your Dallas Mavericks as they look to build upon a successful season last year where they finished 42-30, fifth in the Western Conference, and pushed the Los Angeles Clippers to 7 games. Ultimately, they fell to those Clippers in 7 games. A coaching change was made. Rick Carlisle out, Jason Kidd in. A general manager change, Donnie Nelson out, Nico Harrison in as the new general manager and leader of this front office. Can the Dallas Mavericks now put themselves in position in a loaded Western Conference to potentially get home court advantage in the first round of the NBA playoffs by securing a top 4 seed? Led by Luka Doncic, a refreshed Kristaps Porzingis, a returning Tim Hardaway Jr., a new supporting cast with Reggie Bullock and Sterling Brown, can the Dallas Mavericks make the kind of leap that a lot of folks think that they can this year, given how their prodigious superstar 22-year-old Luka Doncic will continue to perform? He's already a 2-time first-team All-NBA selection, a former Rookie of the Year, a 2-time All-Star starter. Luka Doncic has put himself on the short list as one of the 5 best players in all of the NBA and on a similar short list for NBA MVP candidates. I asked Luka Doncic, look, I know that you aren't necessarily interested in individual awards, and it's always about trying to win a championship. But what does it mean, Luka, to be in the same conversation with Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and others when it comes to the MVP discussion? Here's what Luka Doncic told me.
Kevin Gray, 105 through the Fan. Luka, appreciate you taking the time today. I know that individual awards don't necessarily mean much to you, and the goal is to always win a championship. But what does it mean to you to constantly be in the MVP conversation with the likes of Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and others going into the season, knowing that your name is always in that category there?
I mean, that's amazing, obviously those guys won MVPs, championship. I still didn't win nothing, so I got a long time to go, It's only my 4th year, but, it's always great to hear those named by your name, They're amazing basketball players.
Luka Doncic saying, look, I haven't won anything yet. Those guys have won MVPs and championships. I'm just in my 4th year. I still got a long way to go. And that's interesting for a humble superstar who knows that he is the face of the organization and, more importantly, will be one of the future faces of the NBA going forward. It is how this Mavericks team is led by Doncic that will determine how successful they are this year. Alongside him will be, of course, the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. The 7'3" Latvian appears to be refreshed and renewed going into this upcoming season where he got a new head coach and a new lease on his NBA career after seemingly wanting out of Dallas last year after being relegated to a decoy and checking the wind at the three-point line and really not much of anything in that series against the Los Angeles Clippers. You've seen a sharper, more focused, more agile, if you will, Kristaps Porzingis, but it's been the relationship between Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis that's been under the microscope for a lot of us and for those who watch and support this team. Why doesn't it seem like there's chemistry between Luka Doncic and Porzingis on the court? Do they get along off the court? Why don't they give each other high fives and fist bumps? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? A lot of questions when it comes to this relationship between two of the best players, the 2 best players on this team. Can they coexist to help the Mavericks get to where they want to go? Whether you are a detractor or a supporter of Kristaps Porzingis, he is going to have to be the key for this team for them to be able to have the kind of success that they want, because you know what you're going to get from Luka Doncic season in and season out, and it's going to be no different this year if he's able to remain healthy. But when asked by Dallas Morning News' Brad Townsend about his on- and off-court relationship with Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic had a very curt, very short, but more importantly, a very positive answer with a smile. Here's what he said.
I think that's more media did to us, not us. That just the media saw like that. But I don't know. We're good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Zoom.
So Luka Doncic is saying, look, we're good. It's more so of what the media created when it came to our relationship, which is interesting because we've heard a lot of different things about these two and their relationship, whether it be perceived or not, that they got along together. But what's most important and what you've seen throughout this preseason and now what has now begun the regular season and hopefully going forward, that these two continue to make music together on the basketball court. Last year, this is the most efficient pick and roll duo in all of the NBA. They're going to have to be that and much more together, especially on the end of one Kristaps Porzingis. The 7'3" Latvian has an opportunity now with a new lease on his basketball career to get back to some of the things that he was doing in New York, and more importantly, he has to show that on the defensive end. Jason Kidd has talked about it time and time again, that he wants Porzingis just to be a basketball player, that there's no pressure on Porzingis to perform more or less than what he has been in the past. What is his ceiling going into this year, and how is that affected by Luka Doncic's ability to be the primary facilitator and ball handler to make sure that Porzingis gets involved each and every night on the floor? All of those questions will be answered as this season goes on. But what I think is most important here is that Luka Doncic has been willing to put this issue to bed and to do it with a smile on his face. Not pretentious, not something to try and move and deflect away from the question, but it appears a genuine happiness, not only for himself and how his relationship with Porzingis appears to be growing, but a genuine happiness for Porzingis himself. You've heard it from multiple teammates of Porzingis this year. Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, and others, Tim Hardaway Jr. also, that Porzingis seems to be moving better, that he's happier, that he's refreshed, that he's rejuvenated. And that is big if you are a Mavericks fan hoping that this team gets to where they believe they can this year. I believe this team can be a top 4 team in the Western Conference this year, maybe even as high as a 3 seed, depending how things shake out for the Mavericks this year, especially if they remain healthy. They've got a prodigious superstar, which should be a very good co-star, a good supporting cast, and a head coach who appears to be motivated to prove that his first 2 stops in the league weren't just a fluke, and that he's actually a good head coach. Jason Kidd has a lot to prove in that department, but with a 22-year-old superstar by his side, he may be able to do that in much shorter order. If that is the case, the Mavericks have a terrific chance to make some noise this season in the Western Conference, and that should excite you if you're a Mavericks fan. But yes, Luka Doncic is going to be the MVP discussion with Kevin Durant and Giannis and Stephen Curry and LeBron James, all the names and usual suspects that you will hear this upcoming year. But can he be the MVP of a relationship that needs to make sure it blossoms throughout the regular season? 82 games this Mavericks team will play, and how Kristaps Porzingis is managed, where Jason Kidd has said that, hey, we haven't used the word load managed when it comes to Kristaps Porzingis. If that's the case, and Kristaps Porzingis is a full go, then this team offensively should be pretty darn good. And if that's the case, and they improve at least marginally defensively, and Porzingis gets back to being the force that he was in terms of blocking shots and altering shots at the rim, yeah, it's not unrealistic to think that this team couldn't potentially make a run in the Western Conference. But again, the most important part is Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, they're good. And that means we should be too. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. It's been another episode of The Gray Area. I'll talk to you later. Peace.